Accept and welcome to Menier's page, where you will find tutorials that EGD and other things. In today's vid, we're looking at basic polygons. It's a mini series of 3 videos where I will show you how to draw the square, the hexagon, and the pentagon. In doing so, I'll be showing you different methods of construction using different instruments. Now, let me try to put a little emphasis on the importance of this lesson. In our subject, we do a number of topics. This includes mechanical assembly, solid geometry, interpenetration and development, and the list goes on. Now, I can guarantee you that in all of these topics, you will at some point have to draw some of these polygons. So, your success in this topic is fundamentally important. So, practice, practice, practice. Let's go. Constructing the square is not difficult at all, actually. It's the skill of using my instruments correctly that can be a bit tricky, especially if you're starting out in the subject. So watch carefully. First things first, have your T-square. Use your T-square to draw a horizontal line for the base of your square. Then, on the base of your square, have 2 points, a point A and a point B. After placing a point on the left-hand side of your line, measure 50 millimeters going to the right for point B. Now, you have both points A and B. The next thing is now, you need to draw lines that are vertical from both the points A and B. So, watch again. Take your set square, place it on top of your T-square, and then from point A, draw a line moving upwards. Go to point B, draw another line going up. Now, it's important to ensure that you don't have any gaps between your set square and your T-square, because then it will make your lines skew. I always get learners come to me and say, "Sir, why are my lines skew and not straight like yours?" That's why. Now, to finish up the shape, it's pretty simple. Take any one of your rulers, measure from either point A going upwards on your new constructed line, measure 50 millimeters again. Now, to close the square, you don't need to go measure from B going up again. Instead, you can take a T-square and draw a straight line, a straight horizontal line to close the shape. Now, all of these lines that you've drawn, remember, they are construction lines, so they're light. That means now you need to take your pencil, take your set squares, and make these lines dark to complete the drawing. It can also happen ukuthi imbuzo bakuphe yona in a different way. How? Well, they don't always have to give you the square lying on a line. Sometimes they can give you the square as if it's standing on one of its corners. But how do we draw that? Yeah. Well, it's simple. It's about understanding how the square is made up. Remember that we said that the internal angles of that square are 90 degrees. So we have a set square that mimics this. So if we from a particular point draw 2 lines at 45 degrees, we will have constructed an internal angle of 90 degrees. So let's give that a try. So first things first, on your page, create a point, all right? Then on that point, label that point as point A. Having done that, now look carefully. Set up your set square. Use your T-square again. Take your 45 degree set square, place it on top of your T-square, and then construct from that point a line at 45 degrees. What do we as? Turn it around, construct another line from that same point at 45 degrees. After doing both of these lines at 45 degrees, measure them. In my case again, I'm using 50 millimeters. Now, because I'm using my set squares correctly, I don't have to go measure on the other side. Instead, I can just take my t-square and transfer that point to the other side. To finish off my drawing, now from both of these points, I will take my point, I will take my set square and draw a line at 45 degrees again, and move it, change it to the other side, and do that one more time. And there you go. Now I have a square that looks like it's standing on corner A. Let's move on now to our next shape, our next polygon, the hexagon. The hexagon inama-side ay-6, inama-corner aw-6, and the internal sum of these corners add up to 720 degrees. Each of them, if you take 720 divided by 6, it means that all the internal angles add up to 120. I'm going to draw 4 hexagons for you. I'm going to show you 2 hexagons that are drawn by the instruments, and then get little ones, 2 hexagons that are drawn with a compass. Let's check them out. Let's then begin again drawing the hexagon. Now remember, I've already stated you're going to need your 30-degree set square. The 30-degree set square, we're going to use it for all the lines that are going to be at an angle. You will still have a line that are horizontal, some of them, okay? Now, for the horizontal lines, let's use the t-square. Start with that horizontal line. Let's draw a horizontal line, and then on that line, we need a point A and a point B again. I'm going to measure from point A to point B 40 millimeters for this drawing. So, make a point on this line on the left-hand side somewhere, and then from point A, measure 40 millimeters. The next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to take my 30-degree set square. I'm looking for the angle that is 60 degrees. Look at how I'm placing it. This placement gives me a 60-degree angle moving towards one side. So from point B, I'm going to draw a line from point B at 60 degrees towards one line. Now remember to keep this as a construction line. Then I want another 60-degree angle moving to another side. So I'm going to turn my set square around, place it on top of my t-square, and then from point A, draw another line going up. Now, I need to continue ensuring that this shape has equal sides. So remember, we made AB to be 40 millimeters. That means that from B, moving at 60 degrees, I must measure another 40 millimeters. And as soon as I've measured that 40 millimeters, I don't need again to go and measure it from A, moving to the other 60-degree angle to the left. Instead, I can take my t-square and I can draw a straight line across where it will create an intersection. That point is another point, and if you measure it from A going to that intersection, it will give me the same measurement. Now, I want to close out and finish my hexagon. How am I going to do this? Again, take my t-square, take my 60-degree set square, place it on top of my t-square, and ensure that I have a 60-degree angle moving towards the right. So from this new point, going to the right, I draw another construction line. I draw another construction line from the right-hand side, going to the left-hand side at 60 degrees. Then I close out my shape at the top. Now I have a completed hexagon. In the last part of this video, let's discuss a hexagon that looks a little bit different to the one that we've just drawn. You may get a question where the hexagon looks as if it is standing on one of its corners. Now, how do we draw that? Let's look at that together. first thing that you must note is that you still need to use the 60-degree set square. But instead of using the 60-degree angle, this time you're going to be using the 30-degree angle. Starting the drawing, all we will need now is a point A. Then we take our set square, we place it on our T-square. Watch carefully how I'm placing it. This way of placing your set square gives you a 30-degree angle. So now you're going to draw from A going to the left at 30 degrees, and then draw from A going to the right at 30 degrees. Then measure from A going to the left and to the right, whatever measurement that you need. In this case, I believe my hexagon is 30 millimeters each side. After creating my measurements, I need lines that are going to be moving vertically upwards. So from the 2 points where I've measured my 30 millimeters, I'm going to take my set square, place it at 90 degrees on my T-square again, and then draw vertical lines. And on those vertical lines, I'm going to measure the same 30 millimeter measurement again. Now to close out my drawing, well, you guessed it. Take the set square, place it on these last 2 measurements that I've made vertically moving upward. Ensure that the angle is at 30 degrees, and then draw lines that join the rest of the sides of my hexagon. And then that's it. With that being said, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. There is a part 2 on how to draw the same polygons using different instruments. So check that out as soon as possible. If you have any questions, please log them into the comment section and I will get back to you. For now, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, then press that little bell button over there to get notifications for future videos. This is Manier's page. Goodbye.